So often when I'm talking to designers about this, it really comes back to that they just don't feel confident in what they are offering, and not the design work. The design work is beautiful, but it's the experience that the client has. And that is what strong systems and processes gives you. It allows you to give the client a seamless process, because there can be two designers who are equally as talented when it comes to the design work, but the one who provides the experience is the one where the value is going to be perceived as greater. Welcome to the Design Dialogues, the podcast where we dive deep into the business of interior design. I'm Beth, the founder of More Time to Design, and a designer with over 13 years of experience. I'm here to help you navigate the challenges of running a successful studio, whether you're a solo designer or leading a team. Each week, I chat with industry experts and share practical insights to help you streamline your processes, grow your business, and create a studio that thrives. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy our Design Dialogues. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday episode, and it is a Solo with Beth episode. And I'm doing something a little bit different today. And if this is an episode that you guys like, I will most probably do these a little bit more regularly. And what I am going to do today is answer some questions that I have gotten from designers. So a bit of a Q&A session here. But if you have a question that you would like me to answer, because I'm sure if you have that question, someone else will have the same question, send me a DM on Instagram or an email, and I will make sure to include it in our next Q&A episode. So I'm going to answer 3 questions today, and I'm sure that some of them will really resonate with a lot of you. So the first question I have received, and I got this a little while ago, and it was a designer that reached out to me on Instagram, and they had been in business for quite a long time, and they were really kind of fed up with feeling like they were never earning enough money. They had enough to cover their bills, but they were like, for the amount of time that they were working, they just didn't feel like they were getting paid enough. And I think that's the thing. Like, we're not having hobbies here. We are running businesses. And so her question really was, I feel like I'm stuck between charging what I think my services are worth and what I think clients will pay. And we were talking about how you build confidence to price properly without scaring people off. And I think there's so many kind of different iterations of this question, but ultimately it comes down to having confidence in yourself and also confidence in your systems and processes. So the first part of this is about mindset and about how you think of yourself as a designer and a business owner. But you can't really you can have good mindset around this, but one of the things that is going to help you to get in the right mindset to be able to charge properly for your time and your services and the skill and the value is by having strong systems and processes, to have the business set up beneath you as a strong foundation. So often when I'm talking to designers about this, it really comes back to that they just don't feel confident in what they are offering, and not the design work. The design work is beautiful, but it's the experience that the client has. And that is what strong systems and processes gives you. It allows you to give the client a seamless process, because there can be two designers who are equally as talented when it comes to the design work. But the one who provides the experience is the one where the value is going to be perceived as greater. Because part of our role as an interior designer is to not just create these beautiful spaces for someone, but is to create a process for them that is seamless, there is no stress, there is clear communication, that it is professional. And so that is one of the best things you can do if you are currently feeling like you are not charging enough. But if you feel like your business is a bit of a shambles, then I can guarantee you are going to struggle to feel confident enough to charge what you are worth. So if you are like this designer who is just all in a bit of a mess and feels like they're not earning enough for the work that they're doing and the quality of work that they're doing, but also know deep down that your business and the back end and the systems and the process isn't there, I truly encourage you to take stock, do a bit of a reset, and have a look at how you can improve your systems and processes, because I can guarantee that is going to give you the confidence to increase your fees. So the second question that I was going to answer today was around marketing. Now, I am by far no marketing expert, and I will, there's so many people that I turn to when I need marketing support. But the one thing that I think about when it comes to marketing is thinking about, are you marketing in the right way for where your client is? So if we think about marketing, it's about talking to our client. And so this question came in from another designer on Instagram. This one was from Perth. And they were talking to me about how they're on Instagram and they're doing all the things they think they should be doing on Instagram, and it's taking so much time and they're getting no real response or traction from it. And we got into a really big conversation around what her client is or who her client is. And this designer did actually quite a lot of corporate work, like office fit outs and stuff. And we got talking about where she was finding her referrals were coming from. And because she was working in more of that B2B space, so business to business space, there really wasn't as much Instagram wasn't having as much influence on this space as, say, a residential designer would have. So we got talking about thinking about looking at one, who her client is, but where is that client hanging out? Where are they finding the people that they want to turn to when they're needing support in their work? So, for example, the people who were her clients, they were quite often coming from word of mouth from other people they had been working with. This designer did a lot of work with hair salons. And so she was very much, one hair salon and it was kind of like very, very much word of mouth in the industry. And so she was finding that lots of her clients would come to her with inspirations from inspiration images from Instagram, but they weren't inspiration images of hair salons. And so the disconnect for this designer was that she was spending all this time putting content out on Instagram because when she was talking to her clients, they were showing her inspiration images from Instagram. But they weren't showing her images of hair salons. They were showing them details that they liked from other types of interiors. But the majority of her clients were word of mouth from other salon owners who she had worked with. So we talked through about how Instagram is one tool that she should be using, and it really is a great place. It's a way of someone validating something they've already heard about you. So using Instagram as this kind of visual journal of her process and her work, but not feeling like she had to dedicate all of her time to it, but thinking about where her clients really were coming from and thinking about how she could leverage those relationships that she already had to bring in more leads. So this has been a bit of a rambling answer, but it really is about thinking, when it comes to marketing, am I talking to my potential clients in the space where they are at? So often we are missing the mark on that. And I see so many designers spending a lot of time on Instagram, and they most probably could be spending their time better off. The other little thing that I will say on this is about thinking about how many leads you need to convert a year to make your business viable, or to hit more than viable, to hit your financial figures. One of the things that I think so often I see designers doing wrong, or not doing wrongly, but thinking about wrongly, is like, how many leads do you actually need in your business? Now, if maybe you do really major renovations and you're a solo operator, you might actually only need 2 or 3 clients a year because the scale of the projects that you're working on, and you have really low overheads. Or you might do quite small work, and so you need quite a lot of leads to come through. So really have a think about how many leads you need to come into the business every year. And then think about, am I going to actually get that number of leads through a really good quality email marketing campaign once a month? Or is that just never going to generate enough leads, and I really need to be doing lots and lots on Instagram so I'm getting lots and lots of leads? So really have a think about how many clients you need a year or want a year, and then think about how that filters out into your marketing activities. As I said, I'm no big expert on marketing. I've said more than a number of times on this podcast that sales and marketing is not my strong point. I'm a bit more of a whisperer than a shouter of what I do. But there are some amazing people who talk about marketing. But just think about, is Instagram really the place that you need to be? So another question that I had come up the other day, and this was through a designer that I was talking to. They were just picking my brain about some stuff. And it was around speaking opportunities. So they had been approached to do some speaking at one of the big expos. And they weren't sure if it was quite the right fit for them. And this, I think, is a really interesting one, because I see a lot of designers getting approached, and some designers taking them up and some designers don't. And my attitude to this is, unless it's a really, really, really obvious bad fit, even if you think my ideal client is not going to be in the audience, you never know who is listening and who is watching. So if you get approached to do a speaking gig, or maybe on a panel or on a podcast, or, it's just some kind of publicity and an event where you can share your knowledge and show your authority in the space, I really encourage you to take it, because it's a great opportunity to show your skill, and it also really just helps build your authority in the space. So this is more of a I suppose, a call to action. If you get asked, don't say no straight away. Give it a go. Okay, this next question I love because I think it's really exciting when a designer gets to this point. So the question was, I'm in that awkward stage where I'm not a beginner anymore, but I'm not quite at the level I want to be. How do I get to that next stage of running a confident business? So the first thing is mindset. I've already touched on mindset, and I think mindset is such an important thing. It really is kind of the foundations for all of these things that you're going to get challenged with when you run a business. But mindset is super important. So thinking about the kind of business you want to have at that next level and being super clear on that, I think, is really important. And having that confidence to know that you are a good enough designer, that you are a good enough business person, that you are going to have the opportunities come your way for a business of that level. So mindset is the first thing. The next thing I would say is find someone who you can talk to about this. Find a mentor or a design kind of leader or someone who you can use as to help you build your business to the next step. I think most people think starting the business and getting it going is the hard bit. And don't get me wrong, that is hard, but getting a business to kind of the next level, I think, is actually harder. So definitely finding a mentor, whether it's a formal relationship through business coaching or like a design mentor, or maybe it might be a more informal process. Reach out to a designer who you really admire and ask them if you can spend some time with them, is a really great way of thinking about moving your business to the next level, but also learning about what you need to do to move your business to the next level. I think one of the things that designers struggle with is they think that if they do the same thing, they will, you actually have to do something different to move your business to the next level. So maybe that is a different type of project. It might be taking on a larger project than you normally would. Maybe it's moving your fees to the next level. Maybe it's investing in better photography, investing in branding, investing in things that maybe when you started out you didn't have the finances for, or they didn't feel quite appropriate, or you might not even have had clarity on them. But really investing in those business building, brand building tools, I think, are really important at this stage. And no one will be surprised when I say this, but one of the biggest things you can do when you are wanting to take your business to that next level is work on your systems and processes. There is absolutely no business that can go to the next level if their systems and processes are not in place. Having bad systems and processes or no systems and processes in place is absolutely putting a ceiling on your business. So if you feel like you are not quite there, you feel like you're ready, but you're just not taking that next step, one of the best things you can do to start is to come back and assess where your systems and processes are at, because I can guarantee fixing those up are going to be the first things that you're going to need to do to really amplify your business and move to the next stage. Okay, last question for this Q&A. This question is, my business has grown so much in the last year, but I'm exhausted and starting to resent it. How do I grow without burning out? And this was from a designer up in Townsville. So this is really important because you want to enjoy running your business. There's nothing worse than seeing a business owner who is burnt out and stressed and the business is running them rather than them running the business. So one of the first things that I would say is be really, really clear on what success is for you. So often designers, the success is defined by external factors. And I've spoken about this before on the podcast, but making sure that you're working towards what success is for you is super important. So for me, at the stage of life that I'm in, it's all about being able to pick the kids up from school and run them to soccer and ballet and all of those kind of things. But I know in a few years' time, I'm going to have different demands on me from a family perspective, and that is going to influence what success in my business looks like. If you have clear definitions of what success looks like for you, it then becomes easier to say no to the projects that aren't quite right, or put more boundaries between you and the client, or boundaries around your projects and how you work. So those are two kind of really key things that I would work on when it comes to making sure that your business is not running you. The other thing that I would say is it is okay to pause, to put the out of office on and say, I'm just taking some time to catch up on some things. And it doesn't mean you need to go away. It doesn't mean you need to do anything like that. You might just kind of put a pause on business for a week and just take that opportunity to catch up on emails, kind of reset, take days a bit slower. That is something that I think is really helpful so often when we are feeling like burnout is on its way, because burnout is awful. It is real. It's very common in interior design. Our industry is not that great sometimes at drawing boundaries, and it's super important. So I hope you've enjoyed our first Q&A episode. I would love to do more of these if you find them helpful. So please send me in your questions. As I said, Instagram is most surely the best way. I will work out a way of doing a formal kind of question capture form somewhere. But send me a question and I will do another one of these episodes. Have a great week, guys, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue. Thank you for listening to this Design Dialogue. I hope you have found it full of inspiration and helpful information to take into your design studio. If you like the podcast and want to hear more, consider sharing it or writing a review, as it helps us reach more people, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to unlock the power of effortless studio management and elevate your design business to new heights, please follow the links in our show notes to see how more time to design can help you build a better business. Have a great week, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue.